Good evening and welcome to the Sunday edition of Spurs Diehards TTID Tottenham Till I Die. On, I suppose, a fairly sombre evening, despite the fact that we did pull back from 2-0 down to draw 2-2 today. Before I introduce my panel, I need to say a very special thank you to our hosts and sponsors tonight, NoWonderIDrink.com, who are a great help to the channel and to all of our equilibrium. We've got a really esteemed panel on tonight, so as we talk about the game and the implications of that game, and particularly the performance and where it leaves us ahead of Thursday's game. First of all, Johnny Hamay, veteran broadcaster from around the world, including Last Word on Spurs, who thankfully he was only on their bench tonight, so we managed to get him into the team here. Good evening, Johnny.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
Well, I'm okay. I was on the phone to the police earlier because I was witness to a robbery, and they wanted all the details. I gave them to them, but they took down my particulars. Apparently, there were other witnesses, so they said they're not sure that they're going to need my help.
Yeah, whether it was a criminal matter or was it a civil matter? That's the legal question.
I'll leave that one to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Jose, star of El Tel Coquerel. Good evening, Senor Jose.
Good evening, boys. I hope you lot are all well. Sunday night, another Sunday night.
Another Sunday night. It sometimes feels like Groundhog Day, but we'll come on to that. And zookeeper Tom, discovered by me. I'm gonna take credit for that. And now an esteemed YouTuber with a massive future, possibly even as a coach at Tottenham Hotspur. Good evening, Tom.
Hello. Yeah, I mean, I lovely glowing resume for you there. Probably unwarranted, but thank you very much.
Yeah, no, totally unwarranted. But your dad told me to say that. He's actually pays more than the sponsors. So, and my fellow co-host and founder, Adrian Stroker. Good evening, Adrian.
The proverbial dinosaur is here, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And eager to speak and vent my spleen.
Eager to speak. You're all going to get a say. Spurs 2, Bournemouth 2 doesn't really tell a story, does it? But we'll come on to that. Johnny, let me start with you, my friend. That was the starting lineup. I have a view, but I'll leave that. What was your view when you saw that?
Probably the thing that sort of got me was nothing to do with the first team and nothing to do with the bench. It was who was omitted from it, which was Mikey Moore. And there's a serious concern from me, has been now for about the last 5-6 weeks. Since the Everton game, he got an assist. He got his debut goal, got an assist against Everton, really looking to start, motoring and, making a worthwhile contribution to the team. And all of a sudden, he deleted his debut goal from Instagram. That's an alarm bell. Then he didn't get on. Yeah, then he didn't get on. Then deleted his X account. Then I was at Ipswich and didn't get on there. Clapped him off, looking very sullen. Deleted some more posts. And then, as we saw against AZ, a team that he ripped to shreds in the second half, when we're looking to open them up, he didn't get a second. And for me, that's unforgivable. And I truly believe that he could be on his way because he hasn't got a full pro contract. And when you look at the amount of people that were courting him, and this is a worry to me because, Ange might talk the talk of youth, But the truth of the matter is, I don't believe he's any interest in them. I've never seen him at a youth game. I've never seen him at under 18s. I've never seen him at under 21 game. And, you know, there was a plan to bring in and develop, 15 to 19-year-olds so that we produce a conveyor belt of talent over the next few years. And we're not in a situation where we only bring through one Harry Kane, one Harry Winks, and so on and so forth. So to me, it's very important. I'm not saying anyone's got a God-given right to jump into the first team from the academy because the jump's very big. But we've seen with Arsenal, with Nawalny, with Skelly, with the Man United boys. You could go on. There's lots of examples of it. I don't think this coach is one of them. I didn't think there was anything wrong. I didn't think there was any real surprise for me. In this lineup is complete protectionism for Thursday. That's all he cares about. He's about his job. He doesn't really care about anything else, quite frankly. So
I'll leave it there, Johnny, because I want to bring other people in. But before that, I'm going to just say hi to people in the chat. First of all, Graham, Spurs Diehards TV. Hi, Graham. Another one of our regulars as
Lisa.
Graham is Lisa. Evening to you, Lisa. And Nita, good evening. Yeah, begging in all areas of the pitch. We will certainly come on to that. And then the three of you all saying hi to each other. People are coming on all the time. So, yeah, do say hi and we'll put the comments up. Adrian, I'm going to break the tradition and bring you on after Johnny's comments, because I know you are a massive Mikey Moore fan and probably know more about the youth setup and the youth players coming through than most of us. So would you like to make a comment on that?
Yeah, with Mikey Moore, I mean, when you're a 16-year-old at a club, and Johnny will know this, you can sign a 2-year scholarship, but you can only sign a 1-year professional contract. And that's so you're not exploited. And that's how, and teams take advantage of that because we've done it when we nick players from other clubs and they'll do it to us. I think once Mikey Moore's for his first year, I think they'll then offer him another year on his professional contract. Yeah, I think they'll do it that way. I don't see him leaving. He loves the club. He may have come off. He's not getting the game time he wants, obviously. I mean, everyone wants to play, don't they? I don't think it's an issue. I do like Johnny. I mean, like, when you say about playing young players, I mean, like, whether you like Brennan Johnson or not, he gave him his debut away to Arsenal. What a game to give him his debut on. I mean, he's played Gray and Bergvall. I mean, Gray's played had 40 appearances now, and Bergvall's had 30-odd appearances. And the other players in the team are young. I mean, we had a 23-year-old team the other day for a game. So, I think I get where you're coming from. It could be we see how it pans out, really, because we can speculate on that one way or the other. But I mean, I love Mikey Moore. I want him in the squad. If you can bring Odebear and put it in, then you can put Mikey Moore in my opinion. I love him
from Jose, and it's come up.
I watched all the under-21 games last season. Wasn't too familiar with the under-18s apart from when George Abbott stepped up as captain for the under-18s and moved in. When they started stepping up the season, but I can't say I did watch the 6-4 yesterday, though, and I posted it to everyone, the win against Arsenal, 6-4 Hotspur way. And then people start raving about Williams Barnett. I'm going, he's 16 years of age. I mean, calm down, for Christ's sake, Every time someone has a good game, Johnny, and you'll know, Johnny, suddenly they're a superstar already. Why aren't he in the first team squad,
Listen, it's a massive jump. I won't bore you with all the players that I've watched that never made it. And that includes, watching other players from other youth teams, right? But there are certain players, for me, before Mikey came along, Jamie Donnelly, for me, was head and shoulders above everyone else in the, the academy, playing at every position. Just to clarify what I was saying, Adrian, what I'm saying to you is that he played Gray and Bergvall. He's been almost forced to. And, sometimes managers are fortunate in the sense that due to circumstances, they're forced to play players who turn out to be saviours. When you look at this season, Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall are probably the shining lights to come through from the season, from this season's debacle. And And I don't think it's solely because of Ange. I think Bergvall is his ability is superb. You saw that today when he came on, completely changed the tempo of the game. And Archie Gray, he's done all the talking on the pitch.
Yeah. All right. Let me stop you there. Just a couple more people. Sorry. As I say, my evening is always complete when I get my time check from Melbourne, Victoria. Good morning, Peter, I should say.
Good day.
Graham, we got there. Super Spurs TV is our very own Blaine, I believe.
Yeah, big up Blaine.
So we're also going out live on El Tel Cockerel now. So thanks for that, and presumably a few more of you are joining. Let me go back to you, Jose. Let's stick for a minute with the starting lineup. Any particular comments on that?
Before the lineup came out, I wanted to see Spence at right back, although he's done his best stuff on the left. I wanted to see Spence at right back, because when Spence plays there, I feel, on the eye test alone, I feel that I don't get him behind us. Where with Porro, they always seem to find space on Porro's side. So I was hoping that Spence would have started today at right back. Romero coming in didn't surprise me. It was going to be one or the other. Romero's been on the grass a lot longer than Mickey, so it didn't surprise me that Romero came into the side. I was quite shocked that he put Sarr and Bissouma in straight away, because they haven't played. They've fallen off a cliff recently, haven't played for a while. And up front, I was happy Son didn't start. I thought they needed to have the rest. And I wanted to see Odegaard, because I've only seen Odegaard once, and that was against Everton when we won 4-0 second game of the season. So I haven't seen Odegaard since then. So I was looking forward to see what Odegaard could do. But yeah, at the end of the day, before the game started, and as soon as I saw the lineups, and even before the lineups, I think the majority of Spurs fans were dreading today's game. So that's more or less what I'm saying. I think people were dreading.
There'd be plenty to talk about. Tom, your own view of that starting lineup. I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you a view, then bring you in. What bugged me as soon as I saw it was absolutely no creativity in that midfield. That's what really bugged me as soon as I saw it.
Yeah, I as soon as I saw it, I posted in most of the chats I was in. What the hell is that midfield? It just seemed a really negative midfield for the game that we were playing. We knew it was always going to be a transitional game playing against Bournemouth. It was always going to be a bit, ping pong back and forth. It just seemed a weird thing. And to be honest, I was worried mostly about Sarr and Bissouma when I saw that midfield three. But then as the game developed, it was Bentancur who was probably dropping the worst game of all three of them. He was dreadful today in giving the ball away. But yeah, there was no link between the defense like that. This is what we saw in the game, and this was my worry before the game, that there was no players that could actually link the defense to the attacking players, and we saw that in the game. It was dire. I was very surprised by that midfield, and to be honest, Bergvall came on and showed them all up, and I wouldn't be sad if I didn't see Bentancur and Bissouma start a game for the rest of this season, to be honest with you.
Would you be sorry if they left the club in the summer?
I think it depends who comes in, doesn't it, really? I wouldn't be sad to see Bissouma necessarily go. Bentancur, he has obviously had his moments with the club when he first came in under Conte, and that that first sort of, and he's always had the odd game here and there where he looks great, but I think you can improve on both of them, right? So if you can improve on them, then would I be sad to see them go? Absolutely not. The most important thing is just getting the players in to improving them. But again, we're saying young players. There seems to be a real disparity in age in our team, where we have a lot of really young players and then really old players, and no one kind of in that middle gap. That your only kind of players in that middle gap are Maddison and Bissouma. and then there's kind of like no one else, and that's quite glaring for me. Yeah.
Three of you were at the game. Jose, I assume you weren't at the game. I wasn't obviously at the game. I'm 1,500 miles away or thereabouts. But Johnny, Tom, and Adrian were there. So let's put that back to you, Johnny. First 5 minutes. What on earth was going on?
The same that goes on every 5 minutes in every single game. Do you remember Ipswich? Could have been, 3-0 up in the first 10 minutes. Manchester City could have been 3-0 up in the first 10, 15 minutes. And let's be honest, barring Vicario saves, it could have it could have been 3-0 easily by half time, let alone the first 5 minutes. I think, was it 2 saves? He made one after 24 seconds.
Yeah.
When Cuti Romero, looking a little bit rusty, just passed it to him, almost tried to loft it over his head and completely missed. It was no surprise. It was just, look, guys, it's eat, sleep, repeat. Okay, we're giving every single team that we play chances. Nothing is changing. Nothing. It doesn't matter who we play. If you can finish your dinner, you're going to make us pay. And luckily today, for whatever reason, whether you want to put it down to bad finishing or fantastic goalkeeping, and I'll choose fantastic goalkeeping today from Vicario, this game would have been dead and buried, and the so-called comeback from the dead would never have taken place, and we would be having a whole different conversation.
Indeed. Let me get back to the chat before I bring you in. The fact Jose's posted something that was just actually something I was going to say. The show is streaming on Spurs Diehards and also El Cocorel. You could be watching on either. It would be wonderful if you're watching on Diehards. Please go into El Cocorel. If you don't subscribe to that channel, subscribe to it and hit that like button, please. Also, if you're watching on El Cocorel, please come over to Spurs Diehards. Please like the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. You know how it helps us all. There's a question there, Johnny. Maybe it's something I'd like to deal with it later. Maybe is more injured. I'm not really concerned. I'm just freezing him out. He's not injured or any mental health issues. Just not selected. I mean, I'll come on to
the only thing that he had a severe virus which affected his heart at Christmas, which meant he ended up in hospital. Other than that, no.
Is he back under Wayne Burnett's wing then, Johnny? Has he been given the game time with the under-21s because he's not getting game time?
Well, he hasn't been brought into the under-21. I really don't know what's going on. There's something not right, okay? You could tell by his demeanour after the Ipswich game. And quite honestly, I did a post, should Mikey Moore be involved in the game against AZ Alkmaar? And everyone thought that not only will he be involved, he will get on and he will play. And I think many people were surprised, as I said, when we failed to open the door at AZ, that he wasn't given even 15 minutes.
Yeah. Tom, let's bring you back in. I mean, it's bloody Groundhog Day, isn't it? You watch the first few minutes of a game, teams are pressing us high, we're messing about at the back, losing the ball, conceding chances. The definition of stupidity is to keep doing the same thing when it's, to paraphrase it, when it's not working, and it's not working.
Yeah, I mean, I turned around to the people I was standing next to after that shot in the first 20 seconds. Went, well, at least we know how this game's going. Then, like, it just literally just set the tone for the fans, and this is the thing. Like, the fans, we are a reactionary fan base. Let's be honest. If the team are up for it, we're up for it. If the team aren't up for it, then we're not up for it. Apart from effing and blinding and moaning at every players, right? That is exactly what we're like as a fan base. And I think a lot of fan bases are like that, especially in the Premier League. But the thing for me is set pieces. So when you say set pieces, people always just think corners, free kicks. But when I think set pieces, I think corners, free kicks, goal kicks, throw-ins. All of these things are that we, for some reason, don't seem to have any plan for. Like the last few games, when we've taken a goal kick, it's gone back to our centre back who's lumped it forward to Mattis Tell to try and win in the air. Who, he's 6 foot. He's not a small kid by any stretch of imagination, but he's not an aerial threat. And then today we get Solanke on the pitch and we don't decide to get the ball forward. We didn't actually leave our half for the first 5 minutes of the game, and we had kickoff where you're on the halfway line and we still managed to not get past the halfway line. We just seems to be no, like teams like Brentford. They actually take advantage. They know that the general overall game, they don't have the players to play the high attacking intensity football, and that's going to win you lots of games. So they take what can we take advantage of? They take advantage of throw-ins. They take advantage of goal kicks. Brentford scored how many goal kick straight from goal kicks this season? Like 4, 5, maybe even 6. So they take advantage of the things that they can take advantage of, and we're just not taking any advantage of that. Throw-ins. I didn't shout. I shouted movement so many times today because every time we got a throw in, everyone's just standing still. It's like they don't know where to go or what to do, or whether that's a tactics thing or whether that's a personality thing that none of them want to get on the ball and make something happen. It's just embarrassing. You're not going to win. Don't get me wrong. Although we may have a better team than a lot of the teams left in the Europa League, you're not going to win a Europa League trophy playing like that and not taking advantage of those things. And okay, we can put Romero's
Adrian, let me
to rustiness, but he's done that all season anyway.
Yeah, Adrian, let me bring you in on that and a couple of other points. And one particular thing that even was you guys, I bring you guys that were at the game in first because you see it so much, so the bigger picture so much more clearly. But one thing that got me today was, for the first time, I thought, despite the fact that we've been struggling, the players in general have stuck to what they wanted to do. Today, I thought whenever somebody got the football, they just wanted to get rid of it as quickly as possible. And that's a sign that individually and collectively, players are really off form and lacking in confidence.
Well, the biggest culprit of that today, although he made the saves, was Vicario. Early in the first half, he throws the ball out to Johnson, who actually was back, virtually near the outside of our penalty area. But when you looked over on the pitch, I'm sure Johnny and Tom saw this as well, there's no one in front of Johnson for him to give the ball through. Any Bournemouth players knows it's got to come back again, right? At least make them guess, keep them guessing. And it wasn't the first time with Vicario. You see, this is the nerves of the situation when we find ourselves in present. So there's a lot of times when he had the ball, whether it come from a corner, we gathered it and all that. Most of our players were around the penalty area or just outside it, and he's wanting to throw it out. And we're not even set. We're not even set to get going forward. So someone needs to have a word with Vicario on that. Romero was rusty today, definitely rusty. He nearly cost us the goal with that pass across. He held his hand up, fair enough. I love him as a player. I know other fans don't, but I am a big fan of him, actually, because he progresses us up the field, and we've missed that, and we've really missed that. VDV might go on a gallivanting run now and again, but he does. None of the centre-backs, maybe Danso could do it because he's been a good signing so far. He might be able to progress us up the field. And it was all, you see again, I've said it for a couple of seasons now. We all know that most games are won and lost in midfield. If your midfield ain't working, you stiffen it up. You put another body in there. And if the midfield don't work, there's going to be no link between the back four and the midfield. There's going to be no link between the midfield and the forwards. And then fans can slate all the forwards off as much as they want. But if they don't get no service, mind you, they've also got to show movement and willingness as well, which isn't happening. There was just no fluidity. Everything was like hit and hope today, or pass and hope. There was no sort of you couldn't see anything from the training ground in our play or anything like that. You know, you couldn't see any of that. You couldn't see our throw-ins are disgusting. Now, you can't tell me you can't, like they said Liverpool had a throw-in job, but you can't tell me, we've got 6 first-team coaches with Rob Birch is the 6th one, he's the goalkeeping coach, right? You can't tell me you can't work out some drills, like dummy drills, like say, so a player gets the ball. When he gets the ball, he pretends that he's holding it here. He's pretending he's going to give it to another player. The other player strolls over, but instead he throws it to him. Think of something, be creative with the throw-in, for Christ's sake, rather than hit an open to Solanke, who does well to control the ball at times. He's usually the last choice, you know. So the throw-ins, free kicks, you know, our free kicks are crap, right? Even when Everton get a free kick, if it's on the halfway line, Pickford to come up, they'll launch one in the box. At least you might get a mistake from a defender or something. We do a silly little tappy pass 2 yards to one side. I mean,
so he wants it. Can I just ask a question? Right? You know, your headline there, first 5 minutes, what is going on? When I used to coach kids, and I used to coach sort of, you know, from sort of 9 to sort of 16, 15, 16-year-olds, right? Before we went out in a game, I used to fire them up. And the best performance was the 5 to 10 minutes before they forgot what they were told to do. And I had to remind them, right? And I just see us coming out so lackluster game after game. Like we're still in, I mean, AZ was a prime example. It was a huge, monstrous game, and yet we came out half asleep. What is going on with the motivation? And just quickly, just to add that, what you said, Adrian, we are now getting on for 20-odd months into Ange Postecoglou's career at this club, and he still hasn't got a bloody clue what his best midfield is. He has rotated, he has spun them round and round and round, and he still does not know. For me, Bergwall should be the first one on the team sheet, but who accompanies him? I've got no idea. Basuma was shocking today. Benton was going through a bit of a patch, but when he normally plays with Kuti, the two of them link very well, so I'll reserve judgment on that. But Ange hasn't got a clue what his best midfield is. No. So I'd like to know why you think he's not fired up.
Yeah. I don't like, Johnny, all this shaking hands crap at the beginning of the game, right? There should be a dividing wall in that tunnel separating them two teams. You don't get two boxers shake hands before a fight, do you? They're giving each other the eye. I don't like all this new wussy stuff, which I call it, like shake hands at the end of the game.
Guys, let me bring Jose in, because you, like me, were watching on the television. I mean, are you seeing the same as the guys that, you know, where there's just, I mean, I've got some comments. I mean, this is for much, you know, well, no, I'll bring that up.
Okay, I've heard the Postecoglou,
because it's my own comments, but
Postecoglou after the game on Kuti Romero said, yeah, it was always going to be rusty coming back after not playing for 3 months. The guy is a World Cup winner. The guy is a Copa America champion. I play football still, and I'm 56, 57 years of age. I still play football. And the one thing you don't lose is the ability to play. Because regardless of your age, you know how to fucking trap and pass the ball. You don't lose that. And he's a World Cup winner. He's a Copa America winner. And the passes that he made in the first 5 minutes, he could have given away 3 goals on his Jack Jones.
Yeah.
You've got Porro's passing today. Another one, awful. Benton Course passing today. Another one, awful. Now, it's hard for me to say this because, believe it or not, I come from Spanish heritage, and so do the 3 that I'm naming. They come from Spanish heritage, and you would never dream of players playing like that. These players gave the ball away so much today. But furthermore, what I wanted to say, did you see on X the Christian Romero's release after the game?
No, go on.
Okay, I'll read it out to you. It says, after a difficult period full of things that happened in between, I am back with the group and happy to help the team. There is certainly a lot to correct and work on, but we are together and eager to reverse this situation. See you on Thursday we will come back stronger than ever, all together at Spurs. Then he says, thankful to the physios at Argentina for getting me out of a bad moment and putting me back on the field where I am so happy. Thank you all for your continued support.
And although I'm a big fan of him, he lost possession 13 times during the game.
But it just goes to show that there is a lot. I mean, I don't work for Tottenham, but all I can say is I ain't a fucking idiot. Supported this club for over 50 odd years, and there is something, well, there's a lot fundamentally wrong at the club, both at board, at managerial, at coaching, at player. It's a fucking shit show all over the club. And it doesn't get any better. Jose,
sorry, can I just add to Tell what I was going to say? Tell, I've been telling people for weeks and weeks now about the training situation and the fact that the reason why Cuti hadn't come back was not to do with Cuti Romero. It was to do with the care that he'd been getting. We signed him from Atalanta with a muscle issue. We knew when we signed him, he had an issue. You have to monitor it. Sorry, go on, carry on, Ian. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, no, you started that point, so carry on now. I want to come on to a lot of this.
Listen, look.
Carry on with that now.
Look, the guy makes excuses and he don't tell the truth, and Postecoglou. And I can't go into too much of it, Ian, for obvious reasons, right? But I would just say that all is not right with things going from diet, training, overtraining, liaison, listening to coaches, and that's to do with that as well. And I think people have buried their heads. The comment today, the one that got me absolutely fuming, was when he was asked. You could hear a sigh of relief from the fans at the end of the game. What do you think, Ange? Did you share that relief? He says what people feel and think is irrelevant. Now, I'm sorry, that sigh of relief is not irrelevant to us. We are the fans. How dare you? How dare you? You know, it was a sigh of relief because we couldn't believe that we got away with it.
I think that...
Can I just ask a question? Because three of you went to the game. Ian, you and I weren't there, right? Three of you were at the game today. And I might be completely wrong here, lads, all right? I might be. I've watched Tottenham play the last, I don't know, I'll say the last 6 games, right? And away we've got a great support. I ain't going to knock the away supporters. We've got a great support away. But in the last 6 games, the home games that I've seen, I think the crowd are losing it as well now because I don't hear the crowd anymore. Where I said, I've always said, you know, the crowd could be a 12th man and that. I'm not hearing the crowd because I think the crowd are now seeing enough of what we've all been seeing for a while now. And I think that a lot of the crowd are getting to the end of their tether. It's whether it's with the manager, whether it's with the players, whoever it may be with. I just don't hear the crowd being 150% behind the club, singing, chanting, and all. I'm not hearing it. I hear more moans and groans than what I do anything else at the moment. I might be completely wrong, lads, because I'm just going on telly.
Yeah. On that.
Hang on, Adrian, hang on. Before you come in, I want to pick up personally on that because, and I don't want to sound like I'm so far up my own backside. I don't mean it that way. But I think if I'm losing confidence in Ange, he's in trouble because I live in Glasgow. I watched his Celtics team that I adored. He was my only choice to be this manager. You know that, Johnny.
100%.
You guys know it.
Yeah.
He was the one manager. Forget about Slot. I didn't know enough about Slot, in all fairness, and I gather he turned us down. But I was absolutely myopic in wanting Ange Postecoglou to come and bring that intensity and that verve and that flair that we'd been so lacking. And I am so disappointed in everything that he's doing. He now, to me, looks like a rabbit stuck in the headlights. And the players look the same, that they don't know what he wants and what have you. And I just say that if Ange has lost me, I can understand why he's losing the vast majority of the fan base, because I was so big in favour of him.
But don't you think, Adrian, he's got a bloody cheek? Because I've got to tell you, when you turn up and you see what happened and what was going on in that first 60 minutes, it was catastrophe after catastrophe. But when that goal went in from Papa Sarr, the crowd woke up. Suddenly there was a belief, and the crowd cheered them on right to the end. They did. They weren't happy at half time.
See, as I've watched the team over 6 decades, watched Spurs play over that, right? I mean, my Spurs core has always been, and it always will be, that you support, and I was brought up in the era where you support every player at the club, whether you like the ones that are at the club when you're watching them or not, every manager at the club, whatever. And there's been plenty of players and managers I haven't liked, right? But I didn't think were our DNA, right? So I've always done that. Now, at half time, that's what annoyed me. I was annoyed when the Southampton booed the team off. There was only one anti-banner in the North Stand, about the managers in so many years, blah, blah, blah. But there wasn't one anti-Levy song, which surprised me. Yeah. There wasn't one protest song at all. I don't know. It's hard to judge the crowd at present. Maybe, the Europa League is the one. That's the sword of Damocles hanging over Angie's head. Really,
lots of tourists, Adrian, today.
Sorry,
lots and lots of tourists today. Lots.
Well, yeah, in the South Stand, and maybe in the sides more, because they are around me. I'm high up in the East Stand, and you do get a lot of. Well, they are Asians, Oriental looking.
No, I'm talking about Americans, all sorts. Around me today, none of my usuals were sat near me today. It was all different people.
But Johnny, are we deluding ourselves blaming tourists? I mean,
no, I'm just stating.
Ian. From my perspective, it's not tourists' fault. But correct. There's a reason why there's so many tourists there, and the reason why there's so many tourists there is because the hardcore fans are not going to the game.
There's tickets on sale.
Like it's like I end of the day, if there's tickets available and people want to buy them, bloody well buy them. Like, and if they want to pay £100 to come and watch us draw 2-2 with Bournemouth, more power to them. But it's not tourists' fault. Let's get that straight. The problem is that the fans are so deluded that with everything that's going on at the moment.
Just on that though, want to go. Yeah, just on that though, you've got 42,000 season ticket holders at Spurs.
Yeah, but they're not all going.
Yeah, I know, but the money's there. It's there whether they turn up or not, unless they put it on exchange. What I'm saying, I'm just getting to the balance of tickets that actually go on sale, or how many is. You've got 42,000 season ticket holders, 8,000 corporate, that's 50,000, 3,000 for the away 1,000, that's 53,000 already. If all the away allocations taken up, a 30 quid a ticket, which Levy don't like because he'd like to charge him more, right? So that only leaves out 60 to 8,000, 9,850 tickets to go on sale, right? So that they should be able to shift those tickets. You would think they'd be able to shift them easy, but I mean, I'll give you an example, and this would leave you in that, right? I'll give you an example. This is what sticks in my craw, and I'm not renewing my season ticket next year. I'm not doing that. I'll pick the games I go to. I've decided I'm not doing it, right? Guy next to me. I mean, my average
season ticket holder, Adrian.
Since the stadium opened, virtually, and before that, I did have a break, but I had season tickets in the old enclosure going back in the days in the old stadium as well as above the shelf in there, like so. Where
what's making you want to get rid of your season ticket, Adrian?
I just think, well, I mean, look, I'm always going to love the club. I mean, I've got blue blood, but I just think, now, and I can afford the season ticket, but I just think it's getting to a stage where it's taking the piss. Prices and things like that are just taking the piss. And I just think, you know what? I can do better things with the money. I can pump it into this group. I can do other things like that, and I just think, well, maybe I'm a bit Spurs weary, perhaps. I'm always going to love it. I won't lose my enthusiasm. I'll never lose
it's just a shame to hear another original, giving up his season ticket, because that's what's been happening over
Well, I'll go Spurs play and I'll pick the games I go to. I'll cherry pick them. If I don't get a ticket, I've saved 70 or 100 quid. And the other thing, like the guy next to me was in the seat the other day, which was another, like, Johnny will have experienced this as well, right? We asked him how much he paid for that seat, and it was like 100 quid, 99 quid. Hang about, mine's 70. If I sold my ticket above price, I'd be banned from the ground anyway, yet the club are doing it.
Yeah.
The club are doing that as well. I moaned about the fact there weren't enough water stations when a mate of mine was ill in there, and I had to get him to his seat and queue for a fucking bottle of water. Where's the paramedics? Where's the seating, extra seating in the concourses? When I talked to Katrina, Law, and Martin Cloak when they were with the trust, right? They were saying the club come back neat with, oh yeah, but they went like, yeah, there'll be obstructions or people will sit there and all that. I said, well, put a green cross code above them. Have paramedic stations there. There's a lot of old people, but I'm going off tangent. I'm going on a tangent now, right?
Yeah,
That's
all right. Look, I've got my banners, and I think
So sorry, they didn't answer it. So to the three gentlemen that went to the game today, am I wrong in what I'm saying about what I've noticed in the last 6 home games, or am I completely wrong?
No. What the fans are doing, Jose, they're cheering when things are good and booing when things are bad. When actually going in at half time 1-0 now, back in the day, we'd be getting behind a team.
Yeah, I just think
then they're two-faced at the finish. We got the 2-2 draw. Not about cyber elite, but we're happy. We're happy with the point.
If you go to a restaurant, right, and they serve up and your food is shit, you're not going to sit there and applaud it. Right, it's
Johnny. I know.
That's it. And unfortunately,
evening, Colin,
we are being served. I haven't even looked. I don't even want to sit there and think about our home record this season. But it's got to be one of the worst home records in a long time.
Johnny, can I interrupt you and read something? Because I'll let you carry on. But
no, that's fine.
This from Spurs Express. It is now impossible for hashtag Tottenham, we're not to call them that, to record 10 home wins in the Premier League this season. This will mark the first time since the 2010-11 season that Spurs have failed to win at least 10 league matches at home. I mean, it's shameful. Carry on, Johnny. Sorry.
And the thing is, this clown is expecting us to cheer and clap what we see with our eyes. You can't fool us. There's no point telling us this is look at this wonderful show. Look at this wonderful football. Are you not entertained? Answer, no, we're not entertained. Okay? Because if we were entertained, we would have the Ange Postecoglou singing from the stands like we had at the beginning of his tenure. I mean, the guy who turned up at this club for that first 10 games was a jovial, happy guy who would banter with the press. Yes, he would grunt a bit, but he didn't look down at the floor all the time. And he was happy and engaging. Now we've got a guy who looks like he's on depressant. I mean, he's grumpy, he's snappy, his answers and his excuses are getting more extreme. And some of the stuff is coming out of the Arteta excuse book. And it's not acceptable. So when you say things like the grass or the youth, the injuries, we had schoolboys out there, or like today, it's irrelevant that fans sighed or that the fans weren't cheering loud enough for us. They're not helping us. Well, come on, you have to do your part, Ange, and you have fulfilled your part of the bargain.
But Johnny, he didn't blame the pitch today. I'll say the ball wasn't round enough.
No, he didn't. He didn't. But the grass, in fairness, the barometer reading was a little bit high, and we did have jet lag when we flew out to Holland. So maybe
he's under pressure though, Johnny, and I think he's bristling. And I don't want a manager coming in smiling after a draw or a defeat. Seriously, I don't want that. So I get when he bristles.
To be honest, I think the turning point with Ange was the City game last year.
Yeah, 100%.
Because he just didn't understand the right. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't particularly, I wouldn't say I wanted us to lose, but it was a game I didn't really care about either way. For me, if we won, great. If we lost, great. But I think that was the complete tipping point, because I think he got so taken back by rivalry that bog standard thing in football. That I think that he, from that moment, seemed to have this weird opinion of the fans, and fans got an opinion of him that he just didn't understand the club and stuff like that. And one thing I'd always been, Ian, I heard you say it and stuff like this as well, is that one thing that Ange always used to do, or what he did at Celtic, is he got himself massively into the folklore of Celtic Football Club. When
Absolutely.
He got there. And I just don't feel like he's really done that with Spurs. I've been Ange, not necessarily Ange in, but I've been really wanting to I've backed every manager that's come in. Whoever the next manager comes in, I'll probably back him more than the people that are crying for that manager to come in at the moment and stuff like that. I always try to get behind them, but I honestly, the last few times watching Spurs at that stadium, I've literally I feel like I could close my eyes and I feel like I am at a Mourinho or a Conte game with the negativity that I feel, let alone the negativity that I feel coming around me. Like I know I'm particularly bad for shouting things during a game, but I was like that as a player as well. I shouted things and I was very vocal and stuff, and I find it frustrating. But like, coming back to your point, Jose, the atmosphere was terrible today. I said earlier, it's turned into a very reactionary crowd, but that's because the hardcore season ticket holders are just not bothering to turn up anymore. And Adrian, you're saying about your season ticket. It's something that I'm thinking about. I wanted a season ticket all my life. I finally got one when we went to Wembley and then back to the stadium and stuff like that. But it's too expensive for me now. I'm paying over £1,000, for my season ticket, the second highest season ticket prices in the whole of Europe, and I'm not getting any value for money apart from the fact that I get to go to watch the game with my dad and family and stuff like that. But I could do that. Go to
Chelsea. You're a Celtic fan as well, or a closet Celtic fan, one or the other. What I want to ask you now. I was one of the Spurs fans, being old school. I wanted us to win that Man City game last.
Yeah, I did too.
But because I believe you go out to win every game. But imagine that scenario of Ange with Celtic and Rangers, right? Would he have said the same thing? Do you think if it was Celtic and Rangers? Would he?
I'm not going to go through the minutiae of this game.
Okay, fair enough.
Because I think there's
you swerved it. All right, fair enough.
Can I just add to what you just said? Just very quickly, when Ange had that rant at Man City, that was not about the game. What came out of his mouth was about that game, but he also said, "I've learned a lot this week, both inside and outside this club, that I wasn't aware of." And that was after the Everton game. He came out with a statement, Ange, and said that none of the kids, the academy kids, were anywhere near good enough to play for the first team. And they were not happy about that. And he was reprimanded for it because of the amount of money that's been invested. Imagine if you're a kid that's in that academy and you hear your manager say that. It's hard enough to make them believe that there's a pathway to the first team at the best of times. So people had a word with him and he got pissed off. And that rant wasn't, where was that passion when we were playing at Arsenal and we were 3-0 down? Was it 3-0 down before, was it that the game before that? I think we were 3-0 down. Where was the upset then? When we were 3-0 down from 3 headers, 3 set pieces, or 3 corners, it was. No, it wasn't. It was nowhere. So I'm just to say that I'm like you. That's when it all started for me as well.
But hang on. Let me ask you this, Jose. In all fairness, was Ange not right? Did the fact that there was a whole group of Spurs supporters, a big group, season ticket holders included, who wanted us to lose a football match, indicative that this club is weak from the top down and has been for as long as I can remember?
Ian, he should have won the game, and then the conversation would have been null and void.
But people were saying before the game they didn't want us to win it.
Right. So what I'm going to say is, I'll be a hypocrite if I said anything different. I
No, I think the fan base was
say,
split on that. They were split on that.
I say all the time to everybody that I speak to on social media, I say support the club however you see fit and in your own way. I won't tell people how to support the team. It's up to each individual to support the team how they see fit. I'm never going to criticize anyone for the way that they support the club or for what their views and opinions are. I won't criticize because we're all entitled to them. But me personally, and if you're asking me the question, personally, I did not want to lose that game, but I don't want to lose any game. Correct. So that's me. That's where I stand on it. And it doesn't matter whether it's Man City, whether we're playing fucking Cardiff City. It doesn't matter who we play. I want to win all the time. But each to their own. Every person's entitled to support.
Was it deflection though? Was it deflection? Should he not been addressing the fact that he'd lost rather than attacking the fans for our behaviour? He should have been addressing that he didn't win, and we didn't win against Arsenal. We were embarrassed in that game. That's deflection.
Johnny, I mean, I think Ian's asked me on today, right, because he could see me turning the other day. So Ian actually messaged me privately. He said, now that you're turning, would you be able to come on the show on Sunday night? Look, for me, Thursday, listening to the interview from Sonny after the game on Thursday, I heard the words come out of Sonny's mouth. I could have picked that interview and I could have put it into another 18 matches and said he said the same thing 18 times.
Yeah.
Ange Postecoglou, apart from the grass thing that he said, he also turned around and said, yeah, players just weren't at the levels and blah, blah, blah. That I could have chopped that and cropped that, and I could have put that into interviews from the past after games of football. For me, there's something fundamentally wrong. When your players are talking and saying the same shit, and when your manager is saying the same shit, there is something fundamentally wrong. Now, today, it was a draw, right? But today, he came out and he said today that, you know, we got players coming back and we weren't at it. How many fucking times do we have to be not at it? We know we're not at it. But that's why we're frustrated as fans, because we know we're not at it. Now, at the end of the day, I'm not putting the blame on one area here. I think there's a lot of different areas at the club that have to portion blame. But at the end of the day, what's happening is not right. And I hear people talk about rebuilds and that, and that they're painful. Yes, they are. But there is no way in hell that anyone that goes or anyone previously that's gone into a rebuild loses this many games in one season in part of their rebuild. So, you know, at the end of the day, the stuff at Tottenham is just not right. Jose. Okay, tell me someone else who's had a rebuild, Adrian, that have lost as many games as what we have in their rebuild in one season. And we haven't finished the season yet.
Tell me any other team, right, that has lost their two most important centre-backs, their number one striker, right, their number one goalkeeper who's just come back, and their best left back from last season has only just come back.
Adrian, and whose fault is that?
Let's compare this. Hold on.
Whose fault is that, Adrian? I'm just saying, whose fault? Whose fault is that?
Let's just compare last season, right? And start the season, he loses arguably the world's best striker. We break the Premier League record. We win 8 games and draw 2. That's still a record now. VDV then gets injured, right? Then you get Maddison gets injured, right? Matty Cash does Bender Corey gets injured. Then you get Basuma, who I've got no time for whatsoever, has 3 suspensions. Romero has 1 suspension. Players away on international duty, right? And then we finished 5th in the league. I thought he did bloody well last season to get 5th. And he's not clueless because he's been in the game 26 years. If people don't like him or don't like him staying in football, that's fine. I can live with that. I can live with people that don't want Ange or don't like Ange. That's fine. All
Evening, Ryan.
Losing players to injury.
Hold on. If last season wasn't bad enough, Jose, where I will stick up from, this season is worse. I don't know anyone who's been dealt a worse hand than this. Now, whether you still rate the man or not with the hand or not, that's your opinion. But I think I'd like to see what he could do in a season. he probably won't get the opportunity. He's not going to get sacked before the summer. If he goes, it'll be in the summer.
I don't know, I don't know. I've seen
He's
comments today.
Levy's not going to put all the pressure on himself. Levy's the hub in the middle of the world. All the spokes point to Levy. Gets rid of Ange. There's no one there between him and everyone else, right? So that's not happening. Well, but I could be totally wrong. I could be totally wrong. And I think I don't think Ange. I like the guy. I actually like the guy. I'm Anging because one, I don't want another Reece. Where does that leave us if we get rid of him? Where does that leave us? Fans need to think about that. It's all right, want him rid. If you don't like him, that's fair enough. Like you don't like
Adrian. It's not liking him, Adrian. It's not liking him. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, it's not about not liking him, right? It's that this ain't a fan thing about liking someone or not liking someone for me, right? For me, fundamentally, it's the club. There's different parts of the club that take blame and apportion to this. At the start of this season, we were fucking undercooked in the market because we didn't. We were four or five players like. So therefore, whose fault is it? Somebody's got to take the blame for not having the squad.
Right. We only brought in one established player, one oven-ready player, and that was Solanke. We didn't know how Bergwall and Gray would turn out, although I had every confidence in Gray, and I'd watched Bergwall and I thought, this kid's got something about him, but we'll see, And I'm happy with both of them. Well happy. I'm more than happy with both of them. Right?
Can I bring Johnny in, please?
Sorry, just one thing before Ian goes in. I do not believe in any shape, way, or form. I'm really sorry that this squad is a team or a squad, whatever you want to class it as, that should be sat on the verge of being in 15th, 16th place. We're 13th now, joint 13th. I don't believe it. I will not believe it because he's refusing to change the tactics. He's not adapting. And I've had to sit and watch this. 34 defeats in under 2 seasons with at least 11 games to go is shambolic. And when you think of the managers that have been sacked with better results, with less support, and have gone out this door, for him to still sit there with the arrogance to have a go at the fans and blame this, that, and the other, be quiet. Just get on with what your job is. Your job is to get results. You're not getting them. So don't have a go at the fans. Stop making excuses. Turn up and start getting results because that's all we want. You start getting the results, you get the fans back on side. Okay, I would be absolutely delighted if we come out in Bilbao and somehow, by some miracle, he's holding that trophy. I'll sit there and eat humble pie and say I got it wrong. Personally, I don't think it's going to happen because he's not tactically adept enough.
Johnny, you wouldn't be wrong about your critique, even if we won the Europa League. You wouldn't be wrong about your critique. It's a fair critique, right?
Yeah.
My angle is like people said, "Oh, we got players back, no excuses." Hang about, they ain't played yet, and they'd have got to come back at the ground running. And Romero hasn't hit the ground running, has he? Your doggy's come back. He's been steady, not at his best like he was last year. Last year, I thought this kid could go and be one of the best left-sided players on the planet, right? I still think he's got it in him, but he ain't back to his best yet. So now, this season, we know what the league's done, right? And I'm with you. We should be playing youngsters and players like that. Donnelly should be brought back into the squad, definitely at the end of this season. And Lancashire and Mikey Moore should be in it. Those are the three I'd like to be in. But we're talking further down the line now. Before I go off on a tangent and have a rant as well.
But the thing is that when you look at the right, okay, we've had injuries, right, and that's a fact. We have had injuries. However, the players that we've had in the squads that have not had the injury, so the players that have had to pick up the bulk of it, and others that could have picked up the bulk of it, haven't been given that opportunity. And when you say I can't rotate, you can rotate. You just chose not to bring others in. We saw that kid Ajayi, right? Yeah. Now he's not a typical winger, like hug touch lines and stuff like that. But did he excite us? Did he get us off our feet with that 1-2 with Scarlett and put the ball away? Oluwase's played a couple of times for Tottenham's first team. He only got a few minutes, but Oluwase is a very good footballer. Mikey Moore frightens people. Mikey Moore, out of all the wingers, and we've got loads at the club, all different profiles. Mikey Moore goes past these players, left or right footed. He goes past players. So, you know, you could have played these players. When we started sticking Archie Gray at centre half and playing whoever beside him because of the injuries, we had Alfie Dorrington there. Now, Alfie Dorrington's a young boy, but he wasn't given a chance. He came on against Southampton as substitute. It must have been his world of dreams for that to happen to him. And then he gets farmed out. We still got the injuries, and they farm him out to Aberdeen. You know, at the end of the day, even if these boys start off by getting 15 minutes or 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, then 15 minutes, gradually a bit more, they'll gain confidence and they can help us out. But the fact was that when we had these injuries, he rotated the same players, and other players that he could have given opportunity, he chose not to. Now, that's got to be on him. It can't be on anybody else because he selected the teams.
Tom, let me bring you in. That was the banner up. I was going to go through the game, and we're not. We're going to talk about the big picture. I think the big picture's too important to ignore after where we're at, and other questions coming up later. But that's the thing I want you all to give some thought to. That's my thoughts. I'll be close to the end with Ange. No commas in there, by the way. I've got Donald Trump to write this, so no punctuation. No press, no intensity, no direction. No press, no intensity. No press. I've got that twice. Too easy to press against. No on-field leadership. Too easy to play through. The players are better than this.
Yeah, we're seeing absolutely. This is the one thing that frustrated me partway through the season when we had the injuries and everything like that. A lot of people going, "Oh, why is he sticking to these tactics? These tactics aren't working. Why are we playing?" Well, actually, no, he didn't. And like we're seeing that now, he didn't stick to those tactics. He did go to playing a more less pressing game and things like that. And we're now coming out the other side, we're getting our players back, and we're still not playing this pressing game. Like we are not playing how Ange had us playing the first season, and we're not playing how it's. To be honest, even the first 10 games this season, okay, the results were mixed, but we were still playing a high intensity, high pressing game. We're not playing that. We're not actually playing how Ange ball is supposed to be played, right? So be that the players aren't doing what he's asking, be that the players have lost faith in what he's asking, be that he's completely flipped 180 and he's like, actually, no, we can't do that anymore. I don't know what it is, but it's just we're not playing in the way that, and it could be a confidence thing as well. And I think there's so many different facets to this, right? It's not a one thing. It's not, if we got rid of Ange tomorrow, all of our problems aren't solved. If we got rid of Levy tomorrow, probably all of our problems aren't solved, but they'll be a long way, we're a lot closer to it being solved. Like it's the difficulty is that there is a rotten core within this club and a lot around it that is being rotted by it. And we always say the fish rots from the head. But my issue is, and is Ange, say we get knocked out on Thursday, and that's a distinct possibility with the way we're playing at the moment. In that situation, if you know full well that Ange is not going to be your manager next year, do you get rid of him then, or do you go, well, we know he's not going to be the manager next year, but we can't get the manager that we want him for next year, so do we keep him in, or do you go, do you know what? This ain't going to work. You're not our manager next year, so we'll just cut ties now, and we'll give it to Mason to the end of the season. And then what? Like, I think there's
that Mason's never going to be the manager. So what's the point of doing that? It's no point.
I'm going to come on to that, but Tom, are we close? In your view, are we close to the end with Ange?
Well, we're closer to the end than we are to the beginning, aren't we? We always. I don't see, unless we go out on Thursday and stuff out 3-4-0 and then carry on that form going for the rest of the season, I don't see how Ange is the manager next year.
So are you saying that is, so you're not saying it's the beginning of the end, you're saying it's the end of the beginning?
No. It's no. It's not. No. And like I said, unless there is some miraculous turnaround for the last few games of this season. If it carries on as it is now, then it's over. It's done. Like, you have to get someone new in. We can't keep going like the way that we're going at the moment. And who comes in, I don't know. There's plenty of people it could be, whether or not they're upgrades or downgrades, I don't know. But I don't foresee, unless, like I said, everything changes and say these last 10, 12, 13 games that we might have of the season go how the first 10 of his tenure went. I don't foresee how Ange is our manager next season.
Johnny?
To me,
Hang on, Adrian, hang on. Adrian, let me bring Johnny in on this, because I know he's probably one of the reasons for asking him on tonight was he's one of the more vociferous Ange critics and has been for some while.
Yeah. Look, as I said before, I would be happy, delighted for him to prove me wrong. But players aren't happy, right? That's all I'm going to say. But what I would say to you is that if he loses, I don't believe we will lose against AZ. I mean, they have their three best players, Van Bommel, Ibrahim Sadiq just came on for the last couple of minutes. The other guy, I forget his name now, he wasn't even playing. And Van Bommel's replacement, who's a good kid, he went off injured after Bergvall took him out after about 10, 15 minutes. So I don't believe that we will lose. Therefore, this will get dragged out. But I certainly don't think that he has enough tactically to outsmart potentially Eintracht Frankfurt or Lazio. If he does, by any chance, lose, I think he has to go. And I think we have to be talking about preparing for next season, going through the motions. Daniel Levy, it would be a disaster for Daniel because the season tickets have just gone out. Premium, the letter's gone out for premiums. I've had mine. And I'm speaking to a few people today at halftime. They said, nah, I'm not coming back. Even if he pulls it round, I can't watch it. Unless he goes, I'm not coming back because I can't watch this anymore.
Johnny, is there a price increase?
Well, for me, I'm not sure. I think I must have been on medication when I signed my contract because I signed a 10-year deal, right? So they, yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking. So basically, they can't put mine up by more than 3%, Ian. But did they try? Yes. Last season, they tried to put it up by, I think it was 7.5%. When they froze everybody else's, I said, well, hang on a minute. I'm a fan. No, you're corporate. I said, no, I'm not. I'm a fan. But what they do is where I sit, they charge VAT. So not only do they charge ridiculous sum of money, which I'm not going to say, I'll tell you later, Ian, but they charge the VAT on top. And they tried to stiff you for a ride. So they had to back down on mine because I've got a clause in there which says, as I said, can't go more than 3%. But they will test the water with us first, and they will test the rest of the fan base second. But he will be waiting because they were meant to release the news about potential price increases or freezing last week. Let me tell you, he will be praying that we get through AZ Alkmaar, and then that week, the season ticket news, price of the season ticket will be released. If we lose, I think it might be delayed a bit.
Jose?
But either way, Johnny, the price is going up.
Yeah.
Well, the clubs haven't raised theirs, so that puts the pressure on. There's a few clubs.
42%, Jose, right? You know, like ambition. If you're going to show me ambition, right, and we're going to bring in this amount of money, at least pump it to 60% wages. Look, it's not about the transfer fee because we know that the transfer fee can be amortized over the 5 years or 5+1 of the deal, right? We know that. We all know that. Anyone with, with a background in this stuff will understand that. Where the signing matters is the wage. If you pay them, they will come. Look at Chelsea. They were sat right at the bottom, having a terrible season. Didn't stop them signing player after player after player, did it? And the same will be for us. But I wouldn't come here. If I was an agent right now, I would not be bringing my player to this shit show of a club right now, because as you said, Tel, right, there's something rotten from top to bottom right now. And unless we eradicate and take out and cure the disease, we're just going to be in this situation again. But I do believe that a better coach and a more adaptive coach, a younger coach, not so set in their ways, would do a better job than where we currently sit.
Adrian, I know you're going to defend.
Yeah, I mean, I want to go back to the midfield again, because, like,
you're on the planet at the moment. But...
yeah, I mean, to me, when I've seen these, I mean, I've seen this with midfields that can't dig us out of a battle, right? And sometimes, I mean, Maddison's stats are good, 10 goals or 10 assists, his stats are good, and he's a very good footballer. I want him to stay at the club. And you look at other times when, like, we've had to fight and have a battle. I mean, he didn't battle well when Leicester got relegated, and Tielemans didn't help out much either then when they went down. And I look at our midfield, and whatever three we choose, sometimes it just lacks fluidity and cohesion. And it's all right having Bergvall, who I love, and the more I see him, the more I like him, going forward. But, like, whatever blend of midfield we try, they all seem to play as individuals rather than as a unit. And, like, your midfield has got to be solid. We were all taught as kids, most games are won and lost in midfield. And that's true, unless you play long ball football and you hoof it, right? That's true. And it's not happening. And we're not getting grips of the game. We're not controlling games. So why? That is the key. Why are we not controlling games? That's what coaches should look at, even the Spurs coaches. Why are we not controlling games? Yeah. And it's because the midfield is ragged, like playing as individuals. I mean, Bergvall's looked good for all the mess, right? And Bentancur was brilliant when we played Brentford away and won. He was excellent off the ball. And why have we got such inconsistency? I mean, it's not that these players aren't good individually, but if they can't become a unit together, then you've got to get rid of them. Bassoon will be the first out the door, in my opinion, right? He goes. He didn't even look like he wanted to play for us today. I think he knows the writing's on the wall. He's given up. I wouldn't play him, right? I just wouldn't play him at all from this moment on. You keep Maddison, because he does bring you that X ingredient. He does in games. So you keep him. Bentancur, he looked to be over his ACL. He's been a bit inconsistent, but when he's good, he sort of held it together at the back before for us. I really like the player, but again, consistency. So why is it that we can't control games? Do we need to put more beef in there? Get someone like Johnny Cardoso in, because Boston midfield against Real Madrid recently.
Adrian, you're contradicting yourself, my friend, because the reason we don't control games is we play three in midfield, where most teams overload in midfield. And the second thing is we don't have a holding player. So the space, teams find it so easy to find space between the lines.
Correct.
2 passes.
Well, yeah.
Hang on, Adrian. Let me finish.
Go
2 passes, and suddenly there's a midfield player running through from the opposition who's in 10 yards of space, running at our defence. If they've overloaded properly, particularly on their left side, our right, they've got overlaps on, and we've got nowhere to go, and it happens time and time again.
True.
That's why it's not difficult.
No.
I mean, if I would go 4-2-3-1, go 4-4-2, go 1-4-1-4-1, do anything. But this constant 4-3-3 with no ball winner, no natural leader in the middle is mind-numbing.
Ian, why is he allergic to a 6? Why is he? He's got an allergy to a 6. You buy a monster 6. You buy a monster 6, and that whole scenario changes. You invert only one back, not both backs. There's so many ways to.
Well, only
to
one back
mitigate
inverts
something.
anyway. I mean,
Well,
it's only yeah, no, but I agree with what you were alluding to and Ian's alluded to. The 4-2, yeah. Have a midfield pivot. Have a midfield pivot. If you ain't got the 6, have the midfield, then go to the midfield pivot. You know? Because
I
then
mean, I'm frustrated because I thought it could work.
Oh, so
That
am I.
intensity, if you've got the ball, the way, for example, Celtic had the ball, and you play with that level of intensity, you can't concede goals. But you saw our passing today. You can't play the way we play, with the openness we play, with the you have the ball, we'll have the ball, and knock it back and forward and lose possession the way we lose possession. I mean, the only thing I'll say is how on earth we got away with it today. But
It was a miracle. It was a miracle.
you know, but you keep doing. This is what I said earlier. You keep doing the same thing. It's not working, and he doesn't, and he refuses to change it. Tom,
Can I
what's your
ask
view?
you,
I haven't heard from you for a minute.
I could just ask you just one quickly, because I haven't seen the replays or anything. But was it my imagination, or was that a completely needless penalty given away by Kepa? Because it looked like it was running
It was
away.
needless.
Yeah,
The ball was
It
gone.
was needless,
Ball
yeah,
was
the ball
gone.
was gone.
Son was clever, but he shouldn't have come out. And having come out, he should have just stayed upright. Having seen it on the television,
We were
it
gifted
was
the
a
penalty, Johnny. We
crazy
were gifted it.
penalty to concede.
The
Crazy.
ball was gone. There was no danger. He didn't have to do anything.
He was
The
going
ball
away.
line came out of play. It was going out of play. We got gifted the penalty.
Yeah.
To be honest, it was the one time in the game where we actually played some decent football as well. Like players actually one-touch passing and moving. It was the only occasion I can really think of where we, actually played what I would see as Ange ball, air quotation, where the one-touch passing and quick movement. And
I mean, what I've noted, Tom, you can pick up on this. 63 minutes. There was a wonderful move between Son and Maddison. I've got to open Brighton up. We were playing Bournemouth. I'll edit that. And then Sarr misses. I'm going to edit that. And this is the point I'm making. 65 minutes. Even Ilson again. It's just. I mean, they were good goals to score, but it's bloody Groundhog Day again. That's my criticism. That's why I'm losing faith in Ange.
That move for Kluivert's goal was right in front of me, and it was absolutely sublime, right?
Wasn't it?
So good. I mean, I'm a massive fan of Kirkes, and he was heavily involved in that. But the passage of play and the clever play and the runs, I'm watching us stagnant. No one's making runs, and that's all Bournemouth did. They ran for each other, they pressed for each other, and they worked as a unit. And I was applauded that goal, which I thought was Kluivert's goal that was ruled off for offside, just because it was fantastic football. I don't often do that, but
Semenyo was offside, just inside the half, wasn't he? That's
In fact, funnily enough, I thought that's offside. And then the move was so bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
I've forgotten
it deserved a goal.
It deserved a goal.
We're all football fans.
The thing for me, watching
setting up from Bladen, who's just posted. Look, I mean, I actually said this a while ago, and I talked about every formation, but this one. I mean, 3 central defenders. You then play with Spence, Udogie, Porro, whatever. As the 2 wing backs, and then you've got maybe a pivot there. You've got, Bergvall Gray, for example. And then Solanke and, who knows, Son and and other. I'll maybe talk about that. I think our attacking players are pish, to be honest.
Well, I think
there's no. Someone told me there's no such thing as a bad BJ, and then they showed me Brennan Johnson, and I changed my mind.
I think the thing for me, Ian, with our attacking players, is that we seem really rigid. Like there's no fluidity. in our play. And the one time there was fluidity is when we got the penalty. And I don't know whether that's a tactical thing or whether that's a lack of confidence thing or whatever, because we were playing fluid football initially under Ange, right? But we're not now doing that. Everything seems so rigid and as if players either don't know what they're supposed to do or are too scared to not do what they're being asked to do. Whereas with Bournemouth, I to be honest with you, I actually don't think Bournemouth played that well today. I just think they had 3/4 attacking players who are given license to just play football. Keep your wit, and if you get the ball, try and make something happen. And they've got Semenyo, they had Tavernier and Kluivert, who are all players who are very confident at one, running with the ball, two, passing the ball, and are happy to take on their men. Kirkis, obviously, doing his overlapping runs.
And what about Huijsen? How good was Huijsen today? Dean Huijsen. He was unbelievable.
Fabulous player.
What a player. He done everything he needed to do. Like, I don't think he done anything special, but he didn't need to do anything special. I don't think we really made their defenders have to do anything special in today's game. But for a 19-year-old, he done everything and more than you would expect.
Johnny, I'm here with a mate golfing. I said to him, watch this player. I said he'll be going to a big club in the summer.
Superb. What a player. What a player. Now that's a signing. You want ambition, you go and get him. There's a defender. Go and sell your Cuti Romero if you're going to sell him, right? And that's the play you replace him with, right? If you have to sell Cuti, I don't necessarily want to sell him because I rate him however bad he might have been today.
Tom,
guys, what was your take on? Oh, go on.
I want to bring in Jose Iraola. There's a lot of noise about him as the manager. What do you think he would be able to do with our squad of players? Because much as they've got good players, or you're shaking your head. Let me get the question in at least. I think man for man, we got better players than them. But you're going to disagree, I think.
No. I don't disagree. I think we've got better players, but I just think this whole Iraola is the next Pochettino, next Messiah is very. I think he's in a perfect storm in the perfect club at the perfect climate at time at this present moment for him. And I don't, we talk about Ange has caused a lot of injuries. Iraola has caused a lot of injuries for Bournemouth players as well. They've had a lot of injuries this year, not for the length of time that we've had players injured for, but it was a very common thing. Look what Iraola's able to do with all these injuries. Now that's playing one game a week with Bournemouth. If you suddenly, not that we're probably going to be playing European football next year, if you suddenly add more games into that, and with our medical history that we have at this club, is that going to be even worse? I don't think Iraola is quite the guarantee that some people
I agree.
Thinking he is going to be. Personally, I do like the way that the Bournemouth play. There's an element of composure and control there, whilst also having their attacking fluidity and stuff as well. I wouldn't mind him because he's not a million miles away from what Ange Ball is supposed to be. And if you're going to get a new manager in, try and stick down the same path that you're going down with attacking football or anything like that. Not the flip-flopping that we've done going from defensive manager to ultra-attacking manager and stuff like that. You need to stick down the same sort of line, which is maybe like the Stuttgart manager might be another one. But again, he's not proven in the Prem.
Did you hear him once in all that time moaning about his injuries? And let me tell you something. He sold Solanke and he bought two strikers in. Both of them get injured, right? He lost half his midfield. He lost his centre-backs and he carried on. What did he do? I'll tell you what he did. He did what Thomas Frank does, right? He has to adapt because he doesn't have a massive squad depth, okay, of quality. So he spins things around. And during those times where you're adapting tactics, unfortunately, you lose games or you draw games while you're trying to adapt to a new way of playing. And he's done that countless times. And for me, that is something which look, we saw Gary O'Neill go on Monday Night's Football last season and expose and lay down the blueprint on how to beat Ange Postecoglou. He showed everyone, this is how I beat Spurs. And not only did he do it once, when he came to our ground, he did it again. And I just believe everyone's using that blueprint to beat us with. And Iriola is not a one-trick pony, is all I feel.
No. And although I agree, but we've all just said in the last half an hour that we don't think that Ange is actually playing Ange ball anymore. So we're one breath saying that we're not playing the football that we were playing.
Okay. So I'll give you an example. So when we signed Radu, okay, I thought for a minute we might be going to 3 at the back. I thought if we go 3 at the back with a full strength team, then when you have Romero and Mickey van der Ven roaming forward, you've got the cover, or you've got the situation where Romero could push and drop, push forward into the into midfield.
Yeah.
When did he do it? He chooses to do it against Everton when we had half our team missing, right? To play 3 at the back, and at the most lunatic time to say, "Yeah, look, there you go." And then he comes up at half time. He goes, "Look, I tried the new tactic. It didn't work." No, you're taking the piss. You
can't compare Bournemouth's injuries with Spurs, right? For one thing, we played 8 European games.
I agree.
Come on.
No. We've had more cup games than them because we've progressed in the League Cup, right? Than them, right? And they've had a week rest between games, even though there's injuries. When people start comparing apples with oranges, I sort of like.
Hang on. Look how many games we lost last year. We only played 41 games, the least we played in 16 years. And he was still making excuses.
No, I'm not talking about the excuses. And listen, it's the media that has come. Ange hasn't. When has Ange actually come out in a press conference and made excuses for the injuries? He sort of agreed with the questions, but he hasn't used it as an excuse. He's never thrown anything back.
I played with kids. I had kids. I had school kids on the bench. I had school children.
No, he said that. Yeah. But that's the roundabout way of saying, like, okay, you know, I'm limited. I've got limitations here, right? But like Bournemouth, they've been playing a game a week, right? We've been playing like 2 games a week, right? So that has an effect.
I don't think Ange is blameless in any of this in any way.
No,
shape,
he's not.
or form.
No, he's not.
I think he 100% should have used those youth players like in that period of time, because actually, if he had been using those youngsters and those youth players, people may have had a bit more kind of sympathy for it and going, you know what, at least he's giving these kids a go. As Spurs fans, we want to win every game, but we're understanding that at a moment we're playing 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds and stuff. So I completely, like, he is not blameless in this in any way, shape or form. But at the same time, you know, yes, it's been a bad hand. He's been dealt in terms of the injuries and stuff this season, but you have to try and make something happen from that. And now, look, the players are back now. We've got minutes into the legs of players. Solanke played the full 90 today. Van der Ven, you know, got himself a good half an hour. Romero got himself a good 60 minutes. You know, these players now started getting minutes in the legs. It is from this moment forward that is no longer an excuse.
No,
it's
not.
You've got the players back. Yes, you need to get them up to speed, but they're getting up to speed now. Now is where it has to be seen. And if you don't show any improvement for the rest of the season, then there's absolutely no way you can be the manager next season. The person that you said, Johnny, if our choice, and our choices are probably going to be limited for managers, because I can't imagine there's going to be too many managers wanting to come to Tottenham Hotspur again, unless you pay them a ludicrous wage. But actually, I would probably prefer Thomas Frank over Iriola, because
that's fair enough. I mean, some are suggesting Terzic. Listen, sorry to interrupt you, Ian. Unfortunately, I have to go. As you know, I've got a red eye to Glasgow in the morning. Thanks, Adrian, and Tel, and all of you.
Thank you. Yeah,
and just to say before
Johnny,
I go,
you can call me Jose. I'll allow you.
Sorry, Jose. Do you know what? I'm sorry. Do you know what? I'm bloody tired. I would just say that I don't remember the last time. Maybe someone in there can let me know, and Ian, you can let me know when someone answers. When was the last time we only had a 35% win rate at home?
Yeah, it's not on.
because I don't remember. I don't
facts.
remember. Anyway,
I've got a
guys,
question.
thanks very
I've got a
much.
question.
Johnny,
Cheers,
thank
Johnny.
you.
And let's just hope we win on Thursday, and we'll be having a different conversation. Come on,
I
you
think,
Spurs.
yeah.
Take
Thank
Go
you,
on,
mate.
Ian.
Cheers, Johnny.
I want to bring Jose in on a couple of points. Darren, we got a lead supporter in the who was asking about the results show, and the results show, for those of you that do Jose's competitions, will be Wednesday, Thursday of this week. There is a game. I think West Ham and Newcastle tomorrow night.
Yeah, they're playing tomorrow night. Yeah, there's another game.
There was a question. Sorry, I'm going to just go back. Sorry about that. What's the point of playing Gray in defence continue unless he's going to spend his career as a defender? Darren, you'd have seen a lot of him at Leeds last season. Can you maybe through the chat say what you think about him playing as a central defender? I would love him to start alongside Bergvall in midfield on Thursday. I wish I had the confidence that the manager would put that, because the Sars, Bentancurs and what have you, and Bissoumas of this world are just not doing it at all. Jose, there was something I wanted to bring you in on, and for the life of me now, we got distracted and I can't remember what it was. Yeah, it was a question. Hang on, Adrian. It was a question about the man. Did anybody? I think it was about Irola's interview after the game, and was that a job interview? I can't remember where that comment is.
It was. It came through from Dan.
Did you see that? I tell you why. When the Spurs match finished, I put the Celtic Cup tie on, and then when that finished, I put on the Man United Arsenal game. So I didn't wait. To be honest with you, I couldn't wait to get the Spurs match off. It was that bad in my opinion.
For me, I think at the moment, right, lads. For me, this is my personal opinion. Rightly or wrongly, I'm entitled to it. I think that we're in a tsunami at the moment, and in that tsunami is the board, the manager, the coaches, the players. Right? I keep saying this all the time. It's not. I'm not pinning it on one area, and the medical team as well. I just think there's a whole fundamentally the club is caught in this tsunami at the moment. Right? The only way that I see us getting out of this, right? Because if it stays the way it is at the moment, if things stay as we are now, right, at the club, I'm going to say, and Ange was to leave, and you bring another person in, you're going to get the same, and you've heard this before, the same rinse, repeat, same cycle. It will just happen to another manager. The only way that we get out of this tsunami, right, is if the club does get sold, which there are strong indications that is going on at the moment, and that an announcement's only a few weeks away, and the club may be sold, done and dusted by the summer. If that was to happen, and you brought in footballing people to take over the people at the board at the moment, who are all the spreadsheet merchants, like your Donna Cullens, Capelthorpe, and all them people. If you brought football people in, I mean, there is talk about keeping Levy on for the time being, but if you bring football people in, and with the football people, I don't care if you go down the route of 80-20. So 80% of players being ready first team players, with 20% of the players that you bring in youngsters and that to either bump up your academy or youngsters, for the future, right? But the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you've got footballing people at the club that are going to be prepared to pay, like people have said this on the panel already, prepared to pay the wage. If you pay the wage, players will come to you. At the moment, the way that the tsunami is at the club and the way that we're structured and the way that we do things, I mean, some people are going to be better at maths than I, but this spend to squad ratio percentage or whatever, we're at 42% at the moment, is the lowest in the whole of Europe. Not even in the teams that are playing in European Champions Leagues and Europa Cups and Conference. I'm talking about the whole of Europe. So if you look at the whole of Europe, we are the lowest for the wages ratio. Now, for that to happen, you need to have footballing people. If we get footballing people in and we change the people that we've got there, then there's a possibility that we can get out of this rut going forward. But at the moment, there's too many. It's like a washing machine effect. Everyone's in that washing machine and that cycle's going round and round and round, and everyone's just smashing each other, going round and round and round. and it's just a perfect tsunami at the moment. And I just think that we do need change, but it needs to be fundamental change. It's not about one area. There's all the areas need to be looked at. And I'm thinking to myself that if we can get footballing people in to make footballing decisions, then we got half a chance going forward in the future. But as things stand at the moment, you get rid of Postecoglou, you bring another manager in, they're going to be failed. And it doesn't matter who you bring in. And kind of what Tom said earlier kind of makes sense as well, whereby with Iraola, now don't get me wrong, he's a good up and coming manager, but it's perfect for him what's happened at Bournemouth. Do I think Thomas Frank is a better fit at Tottenham? I don't personally believe Thomas Frank is. I don't think Iraola is. I don't think Silva is. I think they're perfect for the clubs that they are at. Hertzler at Brighton, I think they're perfect for the clubs that they're at. We need to look outside the box and not look at the managers that are there at the moment in the Premiership. There could be other managers that have previously managed in the Premiership that we could look at, but I would look outside the box and not look at the same fundamental names, because if the club stays as it is and nothing changes, it's going to be the same rinse and repeat. We're going to get the same problems, or they'll end up with the same problems further down the line that all our managers have.
Yeah, this is a good time to plug the channel, actually, because like it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got 30 of you viewing us now, which is great. It's gone up to
Jose.
32, whatever. If you like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the videos a thumbs up, leave a comment, and please also spread the word. We're a relatively new group. We've been going about 8 or 9 months. We're doing fine. We're doing fine. But like, obviously, we want to grow. That's why we're here, and we want to like be able to like bring you content that you like. We hope you like the content that we've brought you tonight. Ian's done an excellent job on this show already, and we're going to continue obviously for some minutes more. Yeah, so that's just
Not long.
basically it. And get over to Eltel Cockerell as well. Jose runs a fantastic show, does a predictions league and all that. And I wouldn't have the patience to do what he does. I mean, he does a fantastic job there. So get over to Eltel Cockerell. And yeah, thanks again to all of you that stuck with us. And back to you, Ian.
Yeah. Tom, let me bring you in because, I mean, sorry, I'm just about to press a button and some the things came out. I'll move that. We're going to end up with Southgate. Tom, part of the problem I suspect is there's no standout candidate, and maybe those standout candidates that are there, maybe like Arne Slot, would turn us down because people have seen too often the problems of working with Levy, the lack of budget, maybe a lack of ambition, the fact that it seems to be a graveyard even for the top managers. Let's say, because I actually made a banner that we may as well go on to this. I may as well show this. We go out on Thursday, and Ange could be named manager of the month on February and be fired on Friday on the same day. I mean, it's a little bit ironic. I'm sure that even Spurs PR would work out that wouldn't be a particularly good look. But I just think we're at the end. I just don't see how we can turn it round. So let's work on the basis that Ange, if he goes on Friday or Saturday or Monday of next week or at the end of the season, come August next year or come July next year, we have a new manager in place. Who is that going to be?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I think a lot could depend on who the owners are. If it's still the same owners it is now, you know, and new owners come in, then everything changes, doesn't it? Really, because you don't have the stigma associated with the club. Because the stigma that's associated with the club is ultimately associated with the owners, and that's the problem with it. You could. There's so many things they could go down. They could try Iraola, but again, is he going to leave Bournemouth if Bournemouth have potentially Europa, if not maybe even Champions League or whatever it might be next year?
Would you?
Would I? What if I was Iraola? Oh, absolutely not. Everything's going
well,
so well for you. Like, you know, move into Tottenham when that's just a complete disaster step, isn't it? Like, it can only really go wrong. Like that, which is so sad to kind of say. So therefore, I think of the managers of that ilk, the reason why I say Thomas Frank is because I feel like actually he is probably the best tactical manager who can play attacking football, because he did that with Brentford when they were in the Championship. Like, they were playing very, very front-footed, possession-based attacking football, but he's also played counter-attacking football. He's also, so there's a lot of tactical fluidity in how he can play, and I feel like he would be one that would be willing to leave Brentford to come up or sideways or down or whatever across to Tottenham Hotspur. There's the Stuttgart manager, which is being quite well renowned and touted at the moment. Hones, again, plays very attacking football, not too dissimilar to what Ange plays, but a bit more pragmatic. But again, a lot of people are saying that if he leaves Stuttgart, it's only going to be for a team that's in the Champions League. So then you're looking at people like Michael Carrick at Middlesbrough, and then you're looking, you know, do you just give it to Mason, or can you somehow manage to persuade Pochettino to ditch, you know, USA job to come? But I think he's too contractually tied into that to be able to make that move, unless he can do both at the same time, which managers have done that in the past. But, you know, and then the only other one that's being touted around at the moment, who I think would be a good manager, but there's no guarantee it'll work in a Prem, is Simone Inzaghi, the current Inter Milan manager, I believe. He's being touted around by Paratici to, you know, potentially come. I just don't see. Someone's just put Glasner. Glasner wouldn't be a terrible shout, but again,
what about the ex Dortmund manager Versnick? What's his name?
No. If you actually speak and look at, I've looked at, like, so sad, because when his name started getting put about, I was like, I need to find out a bit more before I can form an opinion, and searched like Dortmund Reddit feeds and stuff like that, and Dortmund fans hated him. They absolutely hated him. They found him really negative and disappointed. He was good at kind of like competition footballing and getting you through the rounds and stuff like that, but league form was like abhorrent, and they just couldn't connect with him in the slightest. So, you know, the problem is people see these YouTube videos where it's like the Terzic masterclass, and he goes on for half an hour about how he masterminded them getting to the final. Whenever it's like, oh, he's the guy. But then I've seen ones where Roy Hodgson's done that, but you wouldn't exactly fucking want Roy Hodgson as your manager. Like,
yeah.
So, you know, everyone can be a tactical. I mean, Neil Warnock was probably one of the greatest tacticians there was, but no one would want him as their manager and stuff, would they?
Colin is not coming to my club, and if you need that explained, I'll explain it later.
I think the issue that you got, lads, right, is Tottenham publicly, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to say to you now is,
it's not about who we want; it's who would want us.
No, but publicly, I'm talking about all these managers that people keep rapping and talking about. All they got to look back is to what happened to Martin Yole at half time.
Yeah.
That was public, well known to everybody. Then you go on to the next one, the falling out with Harry Redknapp that he had when Harry Redknapp was let go. And then what Harry had to say publicly. This is all in the public, so it'll come out in the public. Tim Sherwood, and then the falling out and what Tim Sherwood had to say about the club and that. Then you've got the Pochettino not backing him for 2 years, and then the public falling out between them both when they got rid of him and they tapped up Mourinho to come into the side. Mourinho and his public rants about what he thought about Tottenham as well. Then you got Nuno came in and what we did to Nuno publicly, it can be seen by everyone. Then you got the Conte and his famous March the 20th speech after the Southampton game, what he said about the club and that, and the falling out and what he still continues to say about the club. You know, these things are for the public can see this, so can other managers. Now, football is no different to any other profession. It's incestuous. They all talk to each other. They all know about each other. They all talk to each other, whether you're at the same club or not. Everybody knows what goes on in football, right? And to me, I think that every year and everything that comes out that's public about the managers and stuff would put people off more The only reason why you'd get any managers coming to the club is if you were to pay the top dollar for them. Otherwise, managers ain't coming to your club.
Yeah, there is that. Unless you can find, Poch Mark II. He wasn't first choice, was he?
Third.
He was first choice. So like, I don't know. I mean, I'm so engrossed with Tottenham, the under-21s, the 18s, the first team's got everything around Spurs. The only time I get involved really in transfers is when I go and look at all these videos of players we're linked with, But other than that, you lot, you'll know more about other Premier League first-team squads than I will. You'll know more about that. Regarding managers out there, I'm totally clueless about it because, like, I know the ones in the Prem, and I just want a tactically astute manager who plays attractive attacking football because that's what I've been brought up on when I've watched us win trophies, So, like, when I hear anything negative about a manager, I don't want him, basically.
But like I said,
I'll go for a Tuchel, Nagelsmann type because I think,
I think Nagelsmann's turned us down already. I suspect we wouldn't go back there. And also, what I worry about him.
We'll take Poch back.
It's the same with Tuchel. Is that they tend to fall out with players.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we want a manager because if we're looking for something long term, you don't want to go through this. Oh, the players don't like the manager again. Do you know anything about Pochettino's contractual situation? I can't believe he's got a clause that says if Tottenham come running, knocking on my door, I can leave the job.
Yeah, but I think what it is, right, Ian, I think it's more so that they're holding the biggest event in football in 18 months' time or a year and a bit's time. They're holding the biggest event. The USMT or whatever they call themselves, they have put so much money and time and effort to host this World Cup, and they've paid the money to bring Poch in as their manager. It would be sacrilege for Poch to leave USA in the lurch with all this that's hanging over.
Yeah,
and I just think
he can do it. He can do it. I mean,
he can
leave, but like you've alluded to, Jose, the point is, it's a bit like players, with their clauses, they keep their mouths shut and they go, they get their bonuses, blah blah blah, all that. But then, if Poch goes, he's then got to buy his way out of that contract, and we don't know the intricacies of that contract, and if there are, whether there would be some sort of penalising clause in that or not.
I just think it's too much to the manager of the hosting nation to try and they put all their eggs into their baskets with arranging this World Cup, stadia, absolutely everything, and also bringing in a manager to lead them. And I think it wouldn't be a good look if you prized away the manager of the World Cup host. It would not be a good look at all. And
would you like someone like, he's ex-Spurs coach, manager of Ipswich now? Would you go for him?
McKenna, I wouldn't mind, to be honest with you. I think he's got a bit of tactical nous about him. I mean, he's probably got, apart from Southampton, has probably got the worst squad. Ipswich look the most likely of those three to potentially put up a fight to staying up. He's managed through different levels and stuff like that. I wouldn't mind him, and he would make the switch from Ipswich to Tottenham 100%. He's also
I think that's another massive risk, Tom.
Yeah, it is.
Lumbering in mid-table.
But Ian, we're in a situation where anything we do now has to be a massive risk, because what there is no safe option now, is there? The safe option, I guess, is Poch, but even that comes with risk, because actually you don't know how much water under the bridge there is with that whole falling out. If he's coming back to work with the same board, a board which apparently only Levy really particularly liked Poch, and stuff like that. So again, the biggest issue at the club and is the board, and if they can't see that, people aren't going to come.
Being a favourite, actually, to come in. Actually, I really do.
All right, can I throw a name in there? I mean, I've come to the conclusion that as long as Enoch and Levy are there, it's deck chairs on the Titanic. If I'm honest, I think Levy doesn't have the mentality to develop the football club.
It's as much their reputation now, Ian. It's as much the reputation they've made for themselves that it's going to hold everything back from this day forward.
I couldn't agree with you more. Let me chuck a name in there.
Don't throw mine in, whatever you do.
Jose Garcia.
Tom Clark for manager.
From Racing Santander.
Deportivo La Coruña.
Banco Sabadell.
Banco Sabadell.
Sorry, I swear I've got my account. What's Jurgen Klopp going to be doing next season?
He's part of Red Bull
Group. He's head of the Red Bull group now.
He's head of the football development and everything of the Red Bull group.
I don't think now that he's made that step, Tom, right, to be the head of Red Bull. I don't think he'll go back to management, to be honest.
No, I don't.
I think he's taken that step above management level now. That I don't think he'll come back and manage again now, Klopp, to be honest.
Yeah.
I wonder how Klinsmann is.
No.
Okay,
not for me.
fair enough.
People in America and people that have been managed by him say that he is tactically inept.
You've done one of them.
I mean, he was credited with the initial phases of the German national team movement before Yogi Low or whatever his name was kind of took it over. He was credited with starting that movement, but obviously not being able to finish it. So that's I think ultimately this is the none of us can pick a name that we're all kind of.
No.
Well, actually,
I've got a name.
I think you hit the nail on the head with Inzaghi.
I know who you're going to say.
Because
who am I going to say?
Does it begin with an X?
Yeah, it begins with an X. It damn straight. The only man I think is decent for our job is Xavi.
Yeah,
Xavi will play. He'll get you playing football, and he does promote youngsters. He's proven track record of it. Xavi, the ex-Barcelona midfielder. Xavi.
Okay. Where is he at the moment? I lose track.
Nowhere. He was in Saudi Arabia. He stopped. He's out of work. He was at Barcelona in Saudi, and he's now out of work. And he is a player with a proven track record of youngsters. And
where's Alonso? No, he's in Germany.
He's a Bayer Leverkusen, Xabi Alonso.
But I mean, I'd take.
I think Inzaghi's a good call.
We've talked for 15 minutes about names. That's probably the first one you're going. You know what? That makes a lot of sense.
Tom, you've heard me say Xavi before, obviously.
Yeah, no, but he's also someone that I've been thinking about. My one concern with Xavi is whether or not it transitions across to the English game and stuff. But you never know, do you? Unless you give it a try. And Spurs are at a point where any move we make has got to be a risk. Right, Spurs have got two options. They make a safe move in the summer. They do nothing. So they've got three options. Sorry, they do nothing and they stick with Ange. They do a safe move and they go with Southgate, or they try and do something risky and they go with a Xavi or something like that, because they're not going to get, the players, the managers in that, ultimately would make a massive, massive difference. Xavi is a person who could make a massive difference, but does come with an element of risk of. Can
I ask you a question though? When we got Postecoglou, there were a number of people that were hostile. Who the fuck is Postecoglou? What has he ever done? Mickey Mouse leagues, etc., etc. Xavi is a name. World Cup winner,
Euro Champions winner, multiple Champions Leagues, multiple Spanish titles, and he won the title with Barcelona as their manager.
Speaks Spanish and English, which all the best people do, right, Jose?
They're the two. Well, apart from Mandarin, they're probably the two most spoken languages in the world.
Joking apart. Looking even at the chat, we're listening to us. Xavi is a name that would unite the fan base, and that's a real start.
Yeah, I don't think he would come to us though. That's the biggest problem.
Okay, Tom, start Monday, mate.
Realistically, do you think he would come to Tottenham Hotspur in this present moment in time? I don't know.
think it's an attractive job. I think
but he went to Saudi, and we've got better players than the
I
Saudi.
think Levy will have
That's
Paratici.
why he went to Saudi, don't we?
Yeah, but the players that he managed in Saudi, we've got. Even though I think our squad is shit, and I really do, I believe our squad's poor. But even saying that, I think that it's a better squad than the team that he managed out in Saudi.
I think he would look at the young players we've got as well, and you know, it's something, you know, that he potentially might be excited about and stuff like that. I think it, you know, Gus has put like Xavi McKenna or Scott Parker. You know, they're your kind of like Scott Parker. I mean, he's got a great defensive record with Burnley in the thing, but obviously it didn't really work for him at Bournemouth or Fulham where he was at before and stuff. So that's always going to be. I'm not sure that's a manager that.
This is Ashley Postecoglou, by the way. This is Angie's mum. On from Melbourne.
Well, actually, I don't know whether you've been hearing us, but no one is saying they want Ange out. We're just talking about that if the inevitable happens, and Ange, because at some stage, whether it's at the end of his contract, whether it's after Thursday, whether it's in the summer, some stage, Ange will move on. And what we're talking about here is who do we think, or who would we favour to come in and take his place if he were to leave?
What's Zidane doing these days?
We've not turned around and said we want him out. So just to make that clear.
Like my overwhelming thing is that you know, he's got Thursday. If he gets through Thursday, then just give him the rest of the season.
He stays,
yeah. Because, and like I said, if he can for the rest of this season get the team playing now that he's got the players back and they're all back in fitness, if he can get them playing in the way that he got them playing in the first 10 games of his tenure, then I see absolutely no reason why you wouldn't then continue with him. However, if nothing improves from where it is now, then there's absolutely no way he can be in a job next year.
What about Zidane?
Oh God, no.
Who?
I mean, he's a name that would get people excited, but he's not. Zidane.
I think Zidane got the perfect storm.
Zidane,
he played for Real, and he knew most of the players that he was taking over. But in the end, they weren't enamoured with Zidane, and Zidane's never had a job since, has he? So I'm not sure whether Zidane would be the right person.
I won 3 Champions Leagues on the spin.
Here's the manager for you then. Out of contract in the summer. Just throwing names out here now.
Yes.
Out of contract in the summer. Carlo Ancelotti.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's
I mean, it went wonderfully well at Everton for him, but it's gone very well for him. He's would he? I don't know.
Would he? What, from Toy Story?
Peter, it's too early in the morning in Melbourne to be drinking, mate. Far too early to be drinking.
I know.
Yeah, I saw that. Jess, evening, Jess. Not a good. You're Leeds, aren't you, Jess?
Yes, she is.
Yeah, someone else from Leeds as well. Not a good weekend for Leeds. Sheffield United having a good win, and they beat Sheffield United a couple of weeks ago. 5 points clear. That's gone. But let's put. You know, I'm thinking I'm not running the show more than an hour and a half. It's definitely not more than an hour and a half. But people keep coming on and people keep making interesting points. But Mr. Girona's message, Mancini, Xavi, Irola, Howe, I don't think there's a cat in hell's chance. Why would he leave Newcastle?
No.
I don't.
The only way Howe leaves Newcastle is if whoever they are, the PFI, whoever they are at Newcastle, if they don't want him and they want to go down a different route, that's the only way Howe leaves, is they have to push Howe. Howe won't leave because there's no need for him to leave. He only goes if he gets pushed.
Yeah. That's the thing. And like a lot of the names that we've been mentioning, I know someone just say Don Carlo. Like the names we mentioned, a lot of them I'm saying in jest because I actually don't think any of these managers in their right mind would want to come to Tottenham Hotspur in the current state of it.
Manchester City get fined 100 points. Pep Guardiola resigns. Do we break the bank to get Pep?
No. I just think he's done and dusted, isn't he? We've got 37 viewers here. It's fantastic.
I think Pep Guardiola, after the Man City gig, I think Pep Guardiola hangs it up or he becomes an international manager. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's already said when he signed that new contract that, like, basically, if he knows Man City going to get relegated, he's staying with them to get them back up.
Yeah, but I'm saying that this will be the last gig. Football club side, I think that this would be Guardiola's last gig. I don't think he'll manage. I don't think once he finishes whenever he does at Man City, I don't think he moves to another club. I think he goes to either retire because he's done it, or he becomes a national manager. But I don't see him club managing after Man City.
Or he becomes the Wrexham manager when they get promoted.
Yeah, eh? You have to learn to speak Welsh if you're going to go up to that part of Gwynedd.
It's pretty language. It's such a pretty language.
Yeah. Daniel says we missed an opportunity with Arne Slot. I mean,
he turned us down last season. We didn't miss an opportunity. He turned us down.
That's what I've heard. The other thing is he picked up a group of players that were just one step away from taking that extra step, and he has made them better. He has taken them on another level, but they were ready to take that step. We're not ready to take that step, and this season, unfortunately, we've gone backwards. Where we'd be, listen, who knows where we would be if Slot had come. Maybe we'd be challenging for the league, or maybe we'd be mid-table crap like we are at the moment. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, we've run over 2 hours. I turn into a pumpkin if I go more than 2 hours, 5 minutes. So,
fine.
I mean, it's interesting. What's interesting, we start later, and of course, people come in from different parts of the world.
We've got 34 viewers at the moment.
I'm on the golf course tomorrow. Tom, you don't work on a Monday. That's why you like doing a Sunday night.
Yeah,
you've got a fair bit of work on, haven't you? Eltel, brilliantly. You've just done exactly what I wanted to do. Put your own thing up there as well. Just before you do, I'll go that. Just the last point from Ashley. Who knows if Ange had the Liverpool squad? You know what? We could argue about it all night and we never come to a conclusion. Please, if you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel, I hope you've enjoyed the chat. Certainly, there's been plenty of comments from you in the chat so you've enjoyed our chat and discussion. And Eltel Cockerell, I know a number of you would have come in through that. So if our people make sure you go on to Eltel Cockerell and like and subscribe. And again, go back. Those of you that are watching through Eltel Cockerell, please come on to Diehards and support our channel as well.
That's what I've done this from.
It's been great.
Okay.
It's been great.
So, Tom's saying, Tom, right. Well, I'm just going to knock it off anyway. So, Tom, just before we go, because you want to get off, that's fine. Any final words?
Oh, you're mute.
I'm mute. Sorry, it's because I was coughing. I was muting myself because I was coughing. No, like end of the day, I just hope we put in a performance on Thursday and we get through to the next round.
We will.
I have every faith that we'll beat Alkmaar. I don't think Alkmaar are great. They're not a great side away from home. So, and we'll have more than enough to be able to beat them. We just need to beat them, and we need the team to give the crowd something to get behind, and then the crowd can get behind them, and it's a ever going on cycle. So, with any luck, we'll put in a performance. We'll win that game. We'll get through, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Good show, guys.
Jose.
Cheers, Tom. Well done, mate.
Cheers, Tom. I'll let you get
For me, no, I'm just going to say thank you very much for having me on, lads.
No.
It's been a pleasure being on with you guys. It was a bit less painless than I expected it to be, because today I was like, I'd had enough at 4 o'clock this afternoon. I had a chill with the family afterwards, which relaxed me into coming in on the show tonight. Thank you, everyone, for watching, whether you've watched on here on Spurs Diehards, whether you came through on Eltel Cockerell, and to all the people listening to us on X as well, because I put it out to X as well. So, if the people on X, if they care to come to YouTube and support Spurs Diehards. And also, if you could, come to YouTube and support Eltel Cockerell. That'd be great. Thank you very much for listening to us on the panel.
The next show's coming on.
Yeah, we've got a show Tuesday. we'll obviously discuss this game and preview AZ Alkmaar, and we'll see what's happening on the transfer window, all the BS that surrounds us with that. I mean, I made a list of players already. I think it's at about 23 that we've been linked with. It's totally ridiculous. But I'd like everyone's opinions on, how we should progress, what positions are our priorities in the transfer window, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we get into it, okay?
Every
But,
position.
It's been a great show, great show.
Yeah, look, really enjoyed it from my point of view. Thank you, all of you in the chat. Been tremendous getting your comments. Yeah, I mean, may you live in interesting times, I think was the Confucius saying. Yeah, I think it's been a good show. I hope you've all enjoyed it. We'll play out now, guys. I'll see you, Tom. If you want to head off, it's fine. We'll play out with Dreams of Desire, if for no other reason than let's stay optimistic and let's hope next week we're not talking about being out of the Europa and maybe a defeat to Fulham. So come on, you Spurs guys.
Come on, you Spurs. Thanks a lot.